Hello. It's been a while. How are you guys? How is everyone doing right now? I assume you are already on your bed, trying to doze off, thinking of things that you might have done or that you will probably do in the future. Overthinking. Sometimes, most of the times, it can cause sleeplessness. But let me ask you, how have you been doing? These past few days? Life is a little bit easier these days. But certainly not perfect. I'm sleepy already. It's 2 a.m. exactly on my clock. But I just thought of recording something tonight. This morning, so that I have something. I achieved something today before starting another day tomorrow. But I've actually washed my clothes. Already. Maybe about an hour ago. But here I am, also thinking of things. By the way, the purpose of this recording is for you to get bored and finally fall asleep. I know that insomnia is a hard situation to beat. I've been there. I'm always there. I always have insomnia in my life. But I think I just thought my circadian rhythm is really messed up. I think maybe my internal body clock is reversed in some way. 'Cause my sleep cycle is always around 3 a.m. and then I wake up the next day about 8:30 a.m. and somehow it's enough for me. But it doesn't always work, because in between there are times that I wake up a lot of times in my sleep, so I don't always complete the whole sleep cycle throughout the night. But anyway, I'm starting to not give an F about it. We all will die anyway. Anyway, our topic for this morning, tonight, is about trust issues. I know you've already heard of this thing aplenty. Trust issue is someone's inability to believe someone completely, to trust someone wholeheartedly. They always think that, people with trust issues always believe that someone's good deed if someone does them good, they think that that person is expecting something in return. I've always had trust issues. That's why it's hard for me to go into relationships. In fact, when someone starts to give me a signal about something, about love, about them wanting to be with me, then I would start to think that that person has a hidden agenda. I would think that that person is trying to take something from me, and I don't see the form of love to be real. I believe there are people as well who think that way, in that manner, and it stems from a sad past, a sad experience, a trauma in their childhood. Well, most people with trust issues think that they need to always make their partners or their friends happy. They always give it their best. Some people stay in an abusive relationship just because that is what they think that will keep them safe. It's been hardwired in them to always make that person happy. When I was a teenager, I thought that I would never fall in love. I thought that love is just an act or a myth of some kind, because I see people holding hands together and I immediately think that someday, somehow, one of them is gonna cheat, and someday they would break each other's hearts. And I think that that's the reason why some people don't trust anyone at all. That makes life interesting. It's the idea that it's hard to trust someone, and you don't have to trust anyone. What you see on their face, it's not always in their hearts. Well, for me, I think my issue actually stemmed from when I was abandoned as a child. I was left to my aunt because my parents have to work far away from where we live. And I think it's good that I actually traced that part of me in my childhood. And it made me realize that that was the reason I became this way somehow. Because when I was a child, it wasn't explained to me why my parents left. So that I was always looking for them everywhere I go. I would always think that my mom is just gonna pop out of the grass or the door, just surprise me and say that she's back. But it didn't happen until I was about 11 or 12, I guess. So that was the reason that I would think that if someone shows me love, I wouldn't take it, because I know one of those days that person is gonna leave me and I will be left alone, broken into tiny pieces. Throughout my life, that has always been my greatest fear. One of my friends asked me, why don't I try to fall in love? And it always boggled me why certain people are able to do that, while I had difficulty. It was so hard for me to just open up myself and share my heart. And I thought, well, first I thought that I'm not enough. There's not enough reason for me to be loved. But I also thought that I won't be able to share my heart to another, because for me it's ridiculous and it's unimportant. But when my friend asked me that, I started searching within myself what must be the reason. And then eventually, when I was meditating hard one night, that I found the reason. And to my core, the reason was I was abandoned as a child. It's hard for a child to cope up being left by a mother or a father without any explanation or reason. It's bad enough being young and not being able to control your emotions. And then one day, you just realize that they won't be coming back soon. And then as you go through life, you wouldn't realize that inside yourself, that there's a tiny bit of scar, a black dot in your heart that you haven't unlocked or cleaned through. And when I started to understand that about myself, it was freedom for me. I felt like I wore glasses for the first time in my life. And somehow, I felt unobstructed. and I was high on love at that moment. I've been feeling sorry for myself about not being able to trust anyone. I was traumatized real hard. But that's okay. Right now, because I've already cleaned that part of myself, I've already healed that scar about me, that I'm already trying to prove that love and trust can be possible. I mean, I'm not perfect. I'd be honest, I just had a relationship, and I was the first one to cheat. It's such a bad thing that I don't even realize that I was already doing it. I thought I was gonna come clean, but I was very trusting and I was very honest about it, and somehow it made me more imperfect. It paved the way for me to correct myself in my next endeavor about love. But I'll be okay. I'll just try again, and maybe I'll find someone who I can trust more fully. Someone who I don't need to compete with just to prove my worth. And someone who will understand me for what I've been through. I've been used and possibly abused, but it's okay, because it's been hardwired in me to always keep my partner happy, and that I don't see the abuse, I just see it as security. It's amazing how some people don't have to go through that. And that makes us different, because our experiences will truly define us. Our childhood even. You know what I just learned? That the first 8 years of your life, that would be your character. That makes you who you are when you get older. And that's why it's important to nurture a child, to give him the best 8 years of his life. My takeaway about it is that at At least I'm not a bad person. I can be controlling at times. That's a fact. And I know that about myself. Because again, I have trust issues. I don't care what I do as long as I don't find myself defeated, as long as I am not the one tearing up. But it's time for me to move on and be someone new and try somehow. It's okay. Do you have trust issues? Maybe it's time for you to trace that part of your childhood where you might have been traumatized, where you might have been obscured of the feeling of trust. When you find that out about yourself, you'll be truly set free. And soon you'll be okay. It will make you stronger, more self-aware, and more trusting. Somehow the power of meditation helps. It puts you back into your core. It will allow you to find yourself. I think I have a lot to talk about it. I have a lot of things to talk tonight, but I'm already super sleepy. So I might probably end at this point and leave the rest to the dreamland. I might find you there. So I say thank you for listening to me, and I hope you'll have a good night's sleep, and see you on my next Pampantok sessions. Good night.